There are moments in life when the pain runs deeper than words. You try to explain it, but language fails. You try to dress it up, cover it over, and move on, but something inside you still feels broken. You laugh in public, but you cry when you're alone. You keep showing up, keep pressing forward, but inside you're barely holding it together. Because there are some wounds, there are some wounds that no person can heal, no prescription can reach, and no time can erase. It's not a surface scratch, it's a soul injury. It's the kind of hurt that lingers long after the moment has passed, because it went deep, deeper than you expected, deeper than you allowed, deeper than you even understood at the time. You went through things that nobody knows about. You suffered in silence while smiling for the crowd. And the truth is, you're tired of pretending you're okay, tired of being strong for everybody else, tired of saying I'm fine when you're not. Because that pain, that unspoken ache, is like a shadow that never leaves you. You wake up with it. You go to sleep with it. You try to worship through it, work through it, love through it, but it's still there. The wound is hidden, but it's real. And people will say, time heals all wounds. But that's not true for what you're dealing with. Time may help a surface wound, but this kind of pain, it festers, it spreads, it sits in the corner of your soul and waits to be addressed. This is the pain that crept in through the betrayal, that walked in when the door was left open by someone you trusted. This is the ache that settled in after the abuse, after the rejection, after the loss. And you keep looking for relief, for someone to see you, for something to finally bring peace to the storm inside. But every earthly remedy comes up short, because what's broken isn't just emotional, it's spiritual. You tried talking about it, but they didn't understand. You tried therapy, and thank God for it, but some places in the soul are sacred, and only heaven can touch them. You tried pretending it didn't matter, but it does. You tried forgetting, but the memory still haunts you. That's when you realize this isn't just pain. It's a cry for something divine. A cry that says, I need more than comfort, I need healing. I need a touch that reaches past the skin, past the bone, all the way down into the marrow of my being. When the pain is too deep for people to fix, you need more than human help. You need a presence that can sit in the fire with you, a love that won't let go, a power that doesn't just numb the pain but lifts it, pulls it up by the root, and replaces it with peace. That's what deep hurt requires, and that's what only the divine can provide. You can fool people, but you can't fool God. People see the image, the mask, the presentation. They see the way you show up, dressed sharp, words polished, posture steady. But they don't see the storm behind your eyes. They don't hear the silent cries when the world goes quiet. They don't feel the weight you carry in your soul, but God does. God sees what others miss. He sees the pain you've hidden behind your strength, the sorrow you've tucked under your smile, the questions you whisper in the dark when no one else is around to listen. You've gotten so good at hiding it. You walk like nothing's wrong. You talk like you've moved on. But on the inside, you're breaking in places you've never spoken about. People don't know the pressure you're under. They don't see how close you are to giving up. You're functioning, yes, but barely. And sometimes that's the loneliest kind of pain, when you hurt in silence, when you cry in private, when you scream within but stay calm on the outside. That's when it feels like nobody understands, but I came to tell you, God understands. He sees it all. Every tear that never fell, every word you couldn't form, every wound that never fully healed, He doesn't need you to explain it. He already knows. He doesn't need you to perform, pretend, or polish yourself up. You don't have to impress him with prayers that sound right or smiles that look strong. He sees you've been carrying it for far too long. The weight of what they said, the ache of what they did, the burden of trying to be everything for everybody while silently falling apart on the inside. You've been walking around wounded, trying to hold yourself together with the same hands that are trembling from the pain. But the truth is, you don't have to carry it alone. You were never meant to bear this by yourself. You've worn strength like armor, not because you were healed, but because you had no choice. You had to keep going, had to raise those kids, had to clock in, had to keep smiling even when your soul was silently screaming. But even warriors get tired. Even the strong grow weary. Even the ones who always have the answers run out of words when life knocks the wind out of them. And while people admire your strength, they don't understand your struggle. They applaud your ability to survive, but they don't know the price you pay to make it through the day. You've learned how to function while bleeding, how to serve while suffering, how to show up even when everything in you wants to shut down. But baby, you don't have to keep pretending. You don't have to keep suppressing what God is calling you to surrender. You don't have to be the hero in your own healing story. There's a place where you can lay it down. There's a place where you can stop performing, stop posturing, stop pushing past your breaking point. There's a safe place, a holy place where the pressure can come off and the healing can begin. But it starts with release. Not with perfection, not with having it all figured out, not with being strong enough. It starts when you admit, I can't carry this anymore. Because what you release to God, He can redeem. What you give to Him, He can grace. And He doesn't just want the cleaned up version of you. He wants the messy, undone, broken parts too. He wants the part of you that's tired of trying to be okay. He wants the part of you that's ready to rest. That's ready to say, God, I've done all I know to do. Now I need you to do what only you can. You were never meant to heal alone. You were never designed to carry trauma like a trophy. You're not a failure because you're still hurting. You're not weak because you need help. In fact, it takes more courage to surrender than it does to suffer in silence. So let go. Let go of the pressure. Let go of the pretense. Let go of the pain. And let God be the one who holds what's too heavy for you. Because healing begins where striving ends. And the moment you stop trying to do it all in your own strength is the moment you step into the arms of the one who never asked you to. Past all that, He sees the child in you that's still waiting to be comforted. He sees the adult in you that's tired of being disappointed. He sees the places in you where faith is thin and hope is barely hanging on. And not only does He see, He cares. People might overlook you, but He never will. People might judge you by your failures, by your mistakes, by your past, but He looks at your heart. He looks beyond what broke you and sees what He put inside of you. He sees your potential even in your pain. He sees purpose in your tears. And He's not afraid to sit with you in your weakness, to hold you in your fear, to walk with you through your healing. Because He's not just the God who watches, He's the God who stays. When you feel forgotten, remember, He remembers you. When you feel invisible, remember, you are fully seen. And when you feel like no one understands, remind your soul, there is one who sees it all, knows it all, and still loves you without hesitation, without condition, without limit. You are never as alone as the enemy wants you to believe, because the one who sees it all is already working behind the scenes to heal what you haven't even spoken about. That's how deep his love goes. That's how personal his care is. He sees you. You keep waiting for closure that may never come. Holding your breath for the apology that's long overdue. Watching the door, hoping they'll walk back in with remorse, with clarity, with the words you needed to hear. But they don't come. They move on like nothing happened. They sleep at night while you toss and turn, replaying moments, questioning yourself, carrying a wound they left you to bandage alone. And that's the hardest part, healing from a hurt caused by hands that will never acknowledge the damage they did. But hear this deep in your spirit. ***, your healing is not tied to their apology, ***. Your peace is not dependent on their return. Your breakthrough isn't waiting on their regret. You cannot let your future be chained to people who have no intention of taking responsibility. You've been stuck at the scene of the pain, pacing back and forth in the prison of what if and why me. But freedom comes when you realize you don't need them to fix it in order for you to be free. What God has for your life does not require their cooperation. It doesn't require their permission. You've been waiting for closure, but God is offering healing and there is a difference. Closure is what the world tells you to chase, but healing comes when you say, God, I trust you to deal with what I can't. Healing says they may never say sorry, but I refuse to stay stuck in what they did. Healing says, I will not allow a moment of pain to rob me of a lifetime of purpose. Stop rehearsing the wound. Stop refreshing the memory like it's still happening. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it was unfair. Yes, it should have been different. But holding onto bitterness doesn't punish them, it poisons you. Every time you replay it, you relive it. Every time you dwell on it, you delay what's next. It's time to stop building a monument at the site of your trauma. It's time to move, let them go, release them, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. You deserve healing. You deserve to live whole. And the beautiful thing is, when you let it go, God steps in. He becomes your closure. He becomes your comfort. He becomes your defender and your vindicator. What you release from your hands, He holds in His. And what you trust Him with, He knows how to redeem. So don't sit in the waiting room of someone else's change. Don't pause your healing for someone who won't face their truth. You've got too much purpose ahead of you to be tied to what's behind you. Forgive for your own freedom, heal for your own peace, and remember what they won't fix. God will heal completely, deeply, and permanently. Let Him write the ending. Let Him turn the pain into purpose. Let Him finish the story. That pain didn't come to destroy you. It came to reveal something in you. You thought it was just an attack, just a storm, just a season of suffering. But if you look deeper, you'll see it was also a setup. A divine setup to uncover strength you didn't know you had. You see, God doesn't waste pain. He doesn't allow tears to fall without purpose. That heartbreak, that betrayal, that moment when your whole world fell apart, it wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something new being birthed inside of you. It didn't feel like it at the time. No, it felt like suffocation, like grief pulling at your chest, like trust shattering in slow motion. But even in the darkest night, something was happening. The enemy thought it would break you, but instead it broke open your destiny. It pushed you to your knees, and that's where transformation began. It emptied your hands of what you thought you needed, so God could fill them with what He always intended for you to carry. You started to see clearer, pray deeper, listen harder. You stopped leaning on people and started leaning on promise. That pain pulled the blindfold off. It showed you who was really with you, and more importantly, it showed you who God has always been to you. When everything else crumbled, He stood steady. When people changed, He remained the same. And somehow, even in the devastation, He was doing a divine renovation, rearranging the pieces of your life to align with His purpose. And now, the very place you were wounded is becoming the place you're most powerful. You're learning how to stand in the place where you once fell. You're gaining wisdom from what nearly took you out, and that wisdom is turning into a weapon. You're not just surviving, you're evolving. You're not just healed, you're holy, whole, and stronger than you've ever been, because God doesn't just bring you through the pain, He brings you out with power. What the enemy meant for evil, God is flipping for good. What they thought would silence you, God is using to amplify your voice. Every tear watered the ground where your purpose is now growing. Every night you thought you'd never get through became the testimony that you now stand on. This is not just recovery, this is resurrection. You're rising from it with clarity. You're rising with boldness. You're rising with new vision, so don't curse the pain. Thank God for the process. Thank Him that what broke you didn't bury you. Thank Him that you're still here, still breathing, still believing. Because there's power in your pain, not just for you, but for everyone who will hear your story and see your victory. This is how purpose is born. This is how warriors are made, through the fire, through the flood, and through the hand of a God who never lets your pain go to waste. When God heals, He doesn't just soothe the surface, He goes straight to the root. He doesn't put a bandage over what's broken and call it fixed. He goes deep into the unseen places, the places no one else has ever touched, the places you've tried to forget. Because His healing isn't temporary, His healing doesn't just get you through the day, it transforms your life. You see, when people talk about healing, they often mean getting back to where they were. But when God steps in, He doesn't restore you to your former condition, He makes you new. He takes the shattered fragments of your identity, your trust, your peace, your joy, and He molds them into something greater than they were before the pain ever touched you. That's why the healing process hurts sometimes, because He's not just removing what broke you, He's rebuilding you from the inside out. He starts with the heart. That's where the hurt lived. That's where the disappointment took root. That's where the bitterness tried to plant itself. But when God touches your heart, He cleans out the resentment. He lifts the heaviness. He takes the sting out of what they did to you. Suddenly, you realize you're not as angry anymore. You're not as triggered. The memories may still be there, but the power of the pain is gone. He didn't erase your past. He just stripped it of its authority to control your present. Then He moves to your mind. Because the trauma didn't just hit your emotions, it twisted your thoughts. It made you believe you weren't enough. It made you question your worth. It replayed lies like a broken record, convincing you to settle, to shrink, to stay stuck. But when healing comes, so does clarity. You start to see yourself differently. You start to speak life instead of defeat. You start to believe again, not just in God, but in the person He created you to be. And once the heart is free and the mind is renewed, He touches your relationships. You stop loving from a wounded place. You stop projecting your pain onto people who didn't cause it. You're able to open up without fear, trust without trembling, give without guilt, because whole people build healthy relationships. And healed hearts create safe places for others to heal too. That's the power of divine healing. It doesn't just change you, it changes how you live. You walk differently, you speak differently, you love differently, not because you've forgotten what happened, but because you've been made new through it. You don't carry shame anymore, you carry wisdom. You don't carry fear, you carry fire. The same place where the enemy tried to break you is now the place where God shows off His glory. So when God heals you, it's not cosmetic, it's not partial, it's not fake it till you make it, it's complete. It's deep and it's lasting. Because when He heals, He makes * all things new